Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time for attending this session today. Thank you so much, Steve, for giving me this nice opportunity to present for LA 2021, right? LA Group 2021. Um, so today I would like to speak on Introduction to Query Store. So if you are not familiar with Query Store, do not worry about it because we are going to look into the introduction and then what are the benefits of Query Store and dive deep into basically it sounds like a basic session, but basically we are going to talk about everything that Query Store has to offer. We are also going to see how Query Store will work on Azure SQL database as well. A little bit about me. I'm a database administrator with 7 years of experience in managing SQL Server and databases. And I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and Microsoft certified solution expert. And also I'm a organizer for a couple of user groups. I'm an organizer for diversity, equity, and inclusion user group and Microsoft Data and AI South Florida user group as well. And I will also volunteer for Women in Technology user group. I basically take care of a website for WIT user group where I'll gather all the women speaker information and populate into a table. Um, and I did my master's in computer technology at Eastern Illinois University here in Chicago. And apart from my work and then my job and community work, I love arts and crafts, basically the D, DIY stuff, do it yourself stuff. Um, and if you'd like to contact me later, at DBA Nuggets is my user ID, where I usually post about what I'm going to talk about next, what are the upcoming sessions, and where I am presenting. And if you'd like to contact me on LinkedIn, Deepthi Goguri is my name. You can type on that. And dbanuggets.com is my website. Uh, I usually blog about SQL Server and Azure as well. If you would like to go ahead and look into it, you're free to. So as an overview, we are going to cover the introduction part, introduction to Query Store, and what are the benefits of Query Store. One of the benefit is plan forcing, but once you force the plan, you might also see some of the failures depending upon how the plan forcing is working and depending upon if if a new plan gets generated, it might cause failures if you force a plan. So we are going to talk about that, how to view the failures and how to handle them. And we are also going to talk about automatic plan correction feature, which is basically especially for enterprise edition of SQL Server. And also we are going to talk about Query Store hints, which is in preview mode for Azure SQL database. So we are also going to see that. So let's talk about a little bit of introduction. So Query Store is a feature which got introduced in SQL Server 2016. So basically what it does is it will capture or it will capture your query information once you run any query, right? It will capture the query ID, query text, um, execution plan information, resource consumption information. All of this information, it will be captured on the primary data file of the database. So this is not a feature that is automatically enabled when you have a SQL Server on it. It is a database level property where you have to go ahead and manually enable it. So if you enable the query store on a database, it will start capturing all of the queries depending upon what options you choose. It will capture all of the queries with the information into the data file of your database. And what is the advantage of it, right? If you have parameter sensitive queries or your queries are generating lot and lot of execution plans, and you know one of the execution plan works perfectly fine and then it is optimal, you can go ahead and manually compare the execution plans, different execution plans, and compare all the resource consumption information and all of them, and then go ahead and force the plan that you think optimal. That is a manual way of forcing a plan, but you can also use the auto plan correction feature, which will automatically force and unforce the plans for us. So that's one of the benefit. that we have for the query store. Easy to solve the performance problems when you do not have much time to go ahead and tune the query itself. Immediate solution is to go ahead and force a plan and later then talk to the developer um, who is responsible for the changing the code. You can do it. Not every time we have the ability to go ahead and change the code. So this query store feature is like very quick fix in solving the performance problems, as well as you can also identify what are what are the performance um, consuming like resource consuming queries. What are my top resource consuming queries? You have a tab especially in the query store folder where you can just go ahead and grab those queries with single few clicks. You can go ahead and grab that information. Like I said, it's a database level option only, and it is disabled by default if you have SQL Server. It's not enabled by default on any database. You need to go ahead and manually enable it. And it is also disabled by default on Azure Synapse Analytical Database. But it is automatically enabled by default on Azure SQL Database. And if you have the system databases, right? Every server has system databases. You cannot enable on master or tempdb, but you can enable on your other databases. The model database, you can just enable it so that the next time any new databases, if you want to automatically enable the query store, you can go ahead and change that and enable that on model database so that the next time you create any database on the server, it will capture that information and enable the query store automatically. So how does query store actually works behind the scenes? This picture looks a little bit complicated, but I will explain in a very simple words. Whenever, generally, right, whenever the query is submitted to a SQL server, the first thing it will be checking is whether it is running for the first time or if it has already run before. If it is running for the first time, right, it will go ahead and do the compilation and the optimization process to go ahead and create the execution plan. But if it is not running for the first time, then it will go ahead and check if there is already an execution plan in the plan cache. If it is not, like if the plan is not there, right? There are some situations when the plan is not there in the cache. Like if there is a memory pressure on the SQL server, they whenever there is a memory pressure, right? The least recently used execution plans will be evicted out of the cache. So if your plan is also evicted out of the cache, then it will go ahead and again do the compilation and the optimization and create the execution plan. But if there is already a plan in the cache, it will just go ahead and grab that plan from the cache. But before moving ahead, it will go ahead and check for the recompilation. So what happens during this step, right? So basically, it will go ahead and check whatever query, like the query that has newly generated or the query plan that is has been taken from the cache, if it is similar to the force plan. Let's say you are running a query like store procedure where you already forced a plan for the store procedure, right? Then it will go ahead and check if the plan that I have taken from the cache is same as a force plan. If it is similar to force plan, then it will go ahead and proceed. But if it is not similar to force plan, then it will go ahead and do the compilation and the optimization and then create an execution plan similar to the force plan. Somebody has unmuted. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you.
Sure.
So it will go ahead and apply the force plan, right? If the plan that is in the cache is similar to the force plan, then it will go ahead and proceed. But before execution of the query, it will save the query text and the query plan information into the memory. So inside the memory for the query store, like once you enable the query store on the database, there is this store plan store inside the memory. So it will save query text and the query plan even before executing the query. into the plan store. And this is all happening in the memory. And it will store this asynchronously. Once the query gets executed, then it will capture the runtime stats information in the runtime stats store, which is also in the memory. And then later, all of this information, right, the runtime stats as well, will be captured asynchronously into the memory. Once the flush out intervals has been reached, which is like once you enable the query store, you will also enable certain options like how much of time do you want um, uh, to set for the flush out intervals. By default, it is 3000 seconds, which is 15 minutes. Let's say we have put 15 minutes. For every 15 minutes, all this gathered information, the query text, query plan, runtime stats information will be flushed out to the query store schema, which is on the primary data file of the database, right? This will happen asynchronously as well once the flush out interval has been reached. But if there is a memory pressure on the SQL server, then in that situations with that pressure, this information that has been captured might be also flushed to query store schema a little bit earlier than it hits uh, the flush out intervals. Before hitting the flush out intervals, there might be chances that it can flush all this information to disk. But uh, but like I said, it will capture the query execution plan information, right? It looks like similar to plan cache. But what is the difference between plan cache and the query store? Plan cache, whenever you restart the SQL server, right? All of the plans will be evicted out of the cache, and again you have to go ahead and build and then save it in the plan cache. But with the query store, it will retain the data even though you go ahead and flush out the plan cache. It will retain the data until it reaches the cleanup policy. Cleanup policy by default it's 30 days. So until 30 days, it will go ahead and capture the information. Once it hits the 30 days, it will go ahead and delete the oldest data. With the plan cache, it will save the latest plans. But with the query store, it will collect the plan over time. Whenever there is a memory pressure, uh, I'm sorry, I'm coughing. Let me put it in mute.
No problem. Take your time.
And cough. I'm sorry, guys, if I have to cough. Terrible cold and cough since 3 days, I think. So it sucks when you speak. So um, plan cache, whenever there is a memory pressure, right, all the plans will be evicted. At least recently used plans will be evicted first. But in the query store, all the captured information will be first gathered in the memory, right? The query text, query ID, inside the um, plan store as well as runtime stat store. But once it reaches the flush out intervals, then it will flush to disk. With the plan cache, it is very difficult to know why and when your plan has changed and what is the reason for the change. But with the query store, as the history of the information will be captured at a single location, it is very easy for you to go ahead and compare and go ahead and look into what resources are used and what indexes are being used in the plans that they create. It is very easy to identify the problem as well as troubleshoot and fix the issue very quickly. So what kind of data is collected? When this feature has been introduced in SQL Server 2016, they did not included the weight stats information. But from 2017 and above, they included weight stats information as well. And like I said, the query text, query ID, execution plan, memory, IO, CPU, temp DB consumption, right? The wait stats information. All of these details that you are seeing on the screen, everything will be captured. And along with the history of the plans, with a single tab, you can go ahead and capture all of the top resource consuming queries along with their execution plans. So what are the operation modes that are available in Query Store? Once you go to the database that you wanted to enable, right click database, go to properties, and on the left pane, the last tab, which is Query Store, you have 3 operation modes in it. Off meaning Query Store is turned off. It's not enabled on the database. Read only means it will just read the information, like if you forced a plan before placing it into read only. If you already forced a plan, it will go ahead and read that forced plan information, but it cannot write any information. Like by any chance it went ahead and wanted to create a new execution plan, it will not write that new execution plan information and resource consumption information anymore because it's just read only. Read write will actually read the force plans as well as write all the information um, as as it go ahead and capture the runtime stats and the query ID, query text, all the information. And there are certain capture modes. So the
Jupti?
operation modes, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. This was actually a good question that I want to ask as well. What's the point of
Sure.
read only? Why would we
Sorry?
use read only? Or when we use read only?
Read only.
Yes, when you use read only.
So basically, everybody will put the operation mode in read write, but what happens is, let's say you have so whenever you enable the query store, right, you give certain amount of space, especially for the query store. So when your query store goes into the, like if the space of the query store completely got full, then it will automatically go ahead and place the query store in read only mode. It won't turn off, but it will place read only mode where it won't capture any information. Like if you're,
So
that
sounds
is
like
one
you would
situation.
use
That is
read only if you run out of disk space, let's say.
right, right.
Okay.
So that is for automatically, right? That will happen automatically. But if you want to do it, like if you see it is continuously growing and until you know what is going on and you wanted to place it in the read only mode, you already forced certain plans and you wanted to make sure those forced plans are used, but you do not want to capture anything until you know, until you clean up certain space, you can go ahead and put it in read only mode. That's when it will be useful.
Got it. So you would use read only as a way to limit the growth of the query store of this
Yes,
database.
yes. And when it is growing, you wanted to go ahead and clean up. Until you clean up, you don't want to full and you don't want to make it as a full. In that time, you can put it in read only. But read write is only the way you take the advantage of the query store. If you only put it in read only, how do you capture the other information? Your forced plan might not be optimal all the time, right? Because as your data grows, you might you might you might see new execution plans are generating, and your last good plan, which is a forced plan, might not be optimal anymore. So placing it in the read write mode is optimal, but the read only is for the scenarios where your space is getting full, and you wanted to place it in read only mode until you go ahead and clean up the data. In those kind of situations, as well as if it automatically got full and you are unknown, you do not know about it, then query store, it will automatically go ahead and put it in read only mode. It won't turn it off.
Got it. Thank you.
So operation modes are like turning it off or on, but the capture mode are like how do you want to capture the queries? Do you want to capture all of the queries, or how do you want to capture those kind of information? are set at the capture mode. So there are 4 modes, all meaning it will capture every single query, not so important queries, or actually every single query will be captured, even the insignificant queries, not so important queries that you are not bothered at all. Those kind of queries also will be captured. They run pretty quick and you are not much bothered about it. So this is not recommended mode by Microsoft, but if you are in SQL Server 2016, right, all is the default mode. So that is uh, no more suggested by Microsoft. Auto is a mode which is suggested, which is recommended, and from 2017 and above, I believe it's auto is a default mode. So when you place the or capture mode in auto, it will go ahead and capture the queries based upon how many times the query is running, as well as what is the compiled CPU time. And that that point of where it have to trigger and save the data, that is not being decided by us. That algorithm is decided by Microsoft, and we do not know how it captures, but they only mentioned in Microsoft Docs as how many times the query runs, as well as what is the compiled CPU time. And it is recommended, like if you are in 2016, please go ahead and turn it into auto mode. And none meaning it will, the query store will be enabled, but none of the queries will be captured. And custom is where you can go ahead and customize the capture policy. So what are the query store options, right? It is very, very important to know what each of the option means before you turn the query store on, because not every time the defaults need to be accepted and placed as is, because based upon your workload, you need to go ahead and change those options very carefully. Couple of them will be discussing here, rest of them will be discussing in our demo, because our demo is the main part of this session. Most of the time we'll be spending in our demo. So the cleanup policy is how much of data and for how long you want to capture the information, which is 30 days by default. And once the 30 days has been will be reached, old data will be deleted first. Data flush intervals is for how much time do I have to capture all of the information in the memory before flushing to disk. So 15 minutes by default. Once the 15 minutes will be reached, it will go ahead and flush out. Sometimes if there is a memory pressure, it might go ahead and flush out even before reaching the flush out intervals. Maximum storage limit, you have to definitely provide this. 100 MB is default for 2016 and 2017, and 1 GB by default in 2019. But you can go ahead and change based upon how you are capturing and what kind of queries you are capturing, right? And for complete list, please follow the Microsoft Docs, and the rest of the options we are going to see in our demo.
Dipti? Question from attendees. So previous question was from Uday about when will we use read-only. Now the question is from Gira. Deep, you have a particular query that is very slow and I wish to capture the data for the single query. Can this be done using query store, maybe using a custom option?
I believe, but in this session, I did not have the demo of how we can use the custom options. But there is a doc in the Microsoft Docs where you can go ahead and see. But I do not know if we can customize based upon one query. But I'm pretty much sure that if you put it in auto, that query will be captured. Why not go ahead and try it by turning it in your development environment if it is capturing?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure. So a couple of the query store benefits are, as I told you, like if everything will, like all of the queries, the significant queries that you are focusing on will be captured with the query store if you place it in the auto mode. depending upon how many times it runs. So if they are if the queries are generating the execution plans, it will become easy for you to go ahead and compare the regressions of why the plan has been changing and how much resource consumptions they are taking and what might be the optimal plan based upon time it is taking and the resources it is taking. Easy to identify the regression as well as pinpoint the problem very quickly and immediately solve the problem before going ahead and performance tune the query itself. You do not have to touch the code. You do not have to touch the code inside the store procedure to take the benefit of query store, because all as a DBAs we work is to force, unforce, and capture the information. And if you are using auto plan correction also, you do not have to touch the underneath code. But the finally we have to go ahead and finally fix our query permanently. But by forcing the query, the problem will be solved immediately. And if you force a plan and just leave there, we just cannot leave there because there might be several other factors where the same query might generate a new execution plan even though you forced a plan. So you need to even though when you force a plan, you need to make sure you are knowing how the plans are acting, whether the force plan is being used or if the new plans are being generated, and why it's creating a new plan when there is a force plan. You need to know all of this even though if you force a plan. So it's like you need to constantly monitor what's going on with the query store, right? But again, you do not have to change any application code or the code that the application is touching within the database. You do not have to change that to fix these problems. It is very useful during immediate like emergency situations. And personally, right, I used Query Store. I took the benefit of Query Store while using the database upgrades. So in the past couple of years, I did several database upgrades from SQL Server 2012 all the way from 2000 to 2019. But as the Query Store has been introduced in 2016, while I upgraded my 2012 databases to the latest versions, 2016 and 2019, I used Query Store feature to capture the baselines. So what do I mean by these baselines? Once I upgrade the database into the new environment, I still place the database into the old compatibility mode, and then I'll turn on the Query Store on the new environment database. So as it is still older compatibility mode, and as I turn on the Query Store, it will run the queries similar to the way like they used to run in the older environments. Once I capture almost all of the queries, I can go ahead and enable the latest compatibility mode on it. I can upgrade the compatibility mode and then see how the queries are acting, because as I have the all the information and how the queries used to run in the older environment along with their execution plans. Now with the upgraded version, I run those queries again. If there are any queries, right, there are sometimes there are queries that run pretty bad once we upgrade the databases, right? It is very easy in that situations to know what are those queries are and why they changed the execution plan. And as you already have that captured old good execution plan, it is very easy to go ahead and force that plan as well if you have these baselines, right? Um, it Personally it helped me a lot. Couple of times I forced the queries because they worked weirdly after the upgrades. Like developer came to my cube and said, hey, your upgrade has actually failed my query. Like it worked very like it's keep on running. um the performance has degraded. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of your upgrade. In that situation, before fixing the problem itself, before fixing the query itself, immediately to resolve the issue, right, I can just go ahead and force the plan and see what's causing that. Maybe the cardinality estimation, it did not the the query did not like the new cardinality estimation, which was introduced in 2016. So in that situation, it will be easy to use the query store feature to get these to capture these baselines.
Dipti, there is another question. I think there is something, a comment from Vadim saying, I believe it's per database. I believe the capture is per database. Yes, it's per database because the query store is enabled per database.
Yes.
But a question from Gira, this means for baselines you leveraging on the optimizer?
So the question is,
This
sorry,
means this means for baselines, are you leveraging on the optimizer?
Hi, this is Rita here. If I can explain
Perfect.
the question.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
Sorry. Deepti, you were saying that when you're doing upgrades, you used to keep your database in the previous mode, that is the compatibility mode, as the older version. And maybe you have done this in the development before you move to production so that you know which was the right kind of query. So when you do an upgrade of a version, generally the way the optimizer behaves in the older version may be far different from the way you're expecting it to behave in the new version because of the various parameters that have been done or changes have been done. So what I was trying to understand is when you say that you were looking at a particular query and let's say that it has behaved badly in the newer environment, you are actually trying to look only at the optimizer stats. Like for example, it's the plan that is being generated, the execution plan that is being generated while it's being executed. And most of the times it could have been an estimated plan. Unless you see the runtime real plan, you may not be able to see the difference, right? Does query using query store, are we actually capturing the real time plan or are you able to make the difference? Like when the execution starts, you have a estimated plan with you. While this query executes, you have the actual plan. So using query store, are you able to see the difference between the two?
That's a very good question. I didn't even think about this question. So you are asking me if the execution plan that has been actually used for the query or estimate. I strongly believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I strongly believe these are not the estimated plans, but the actual plans.
Thank you.
Yeah, but like if I can get your information, like if I can get your email address later, I'll do some research and then I'll get back to you on it.
Thank you, Deepti. Thank you so much. Because now, yes, we have done a migration from Oracle database to SQL, and we are having a lot of issues related to query performances because apparently the queries were really good when they were on Oracle. It's a product database
but
we have
this
used,
is like
and now yes. So I want to
but we are
leverage on
jumping
query.
but we are completely jumping the from different platform, right? So
absolutely, but that's the thing is I want to understand using query store whether there's anything that if it's a code change, as you said, nothing can be done. But this is supposed to be a product based database which should be working on any platform. So according to the vendor who's given me the software, he says my queries are optimized for both sides, whether it's SQL or Oracle. You should not see the difference, but I'm noticing a lot of difference. So using query store may help me a lot. That's why I was particularly asking on this thing.
If it is coming from different platform, right, we need to work with those guys. They might say that the query will, but it's completely jumping a different product. So we don't know how it used to work and what was the execution plan, right? When it was in Oracle. So I do not know
what I plan to do is because we are trying to fine tune the memory and all, as you said, if I can have a query store and establish the baselines, like after every modification or a code modification, if I can show the difference using a baseline, it would be more easy for my job. That's why I was particularly asking you the question.
Once the database in SQL Server, you can go ahead and do that and capture the information and see how the execution plans are being generated, because one execution plan won't be there for a long time. As the data increased, as you are adding the indexes, as you are updating the statistics, right? Everything, like once the statistics has been updated, it will create a different execution plan again. It will it will automatically go for recompilation whenever the statistics gets updated. We know it. So that will actually help you at least to not like from not capturing the Oracle stuff, but once it is in your platform, you can go ahead and capture all of the information and see over time how they are behaving.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for asking that question.
So there is another question from Vadim. Is there a way to capture actual parameters used for store procedure execution when performance deviation or plan change was detected?
So whenever the, like for example, you are running a store procedure, right? It will not capture exactly in the format of a store procedure code, but it will capture by parameterizing it. You can get that parameter values if you have the tools, but like extended events, by extended events, you can capture that parameter value, but I do not know if it will capture, like I do not believe it will capture the parameter value. It will capture the query itself in the parameterized value, but not the exact value it will show.
I agree with you. There is also Uday saying that this is probably more for extended events.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the. Yeah, thank you, Deepti. I had the same experience. I was just wondering, perhaps there is a trick that you're aware of. But yeah, I also have the same problem. You know, a lot of times I would go and see certain deviation, and
yeah,
it would be
will
nice
only
if they
show you the parameter value, but not anywhere it will show you the exact value it used.
And I guess the previous question in regards to can it be measured for a single query, yeah, I mean, somebody suggested extended event. I'm pretty sure extended event can do that. But yeah, there's no way with query store you get pretty much all or nothing for database. Okay, thank you.
Sure. So, like I said, plan store and runtime stat store, these information are captured, right? So plan store will capture query text, query ID, execution plan information. Runtime stat store will capture the runtime stats information, of course, and wait stat store will categorize the wait stats information, and it will store them inside the query store schema. So let's talk about the one of the advantages of the query store, which is plan forcing. Plan forcing is similar to use plan query hint. So let's say you have a parameterized query. With one parameter, you get one execution plan, but most of your queries are running with one execution plan, but you have just one or two parameters which are parameter sensitive. They generate a completely different plan. In that case, you can go ahead and force a plan by comparing the execution plans and then manually force it as well as unforce it. So you can force a plan by using graphical user interface or by using the store procedures, SP query store force plan or SP query store unforce plan. It is always good to run your transact SQL statements, not only with query store, with anything, because it will be easy for your monitoring tools and then for your other tools to capture who has changed what. So which is very useful. So use transact SQL like these two store procedures to force and unforce your plans. But once you force a plan, right? Let's say you force a plan. You need to make sure like if it is still active or if it is going ahead and generating new execution plans, because there might be a couple of reasons that it might generate new plan. Like I talked to the attendee before, your update stats, index changes, update stats, and then updating indexes. These are some of the reasons where new execution plan might be generated, and that new execution plan might be better or worse than the last good forced plan. But how do we know, like, when that happens, right? When you already have an forced plan and the new plan got generated and the query is using the new plan, how do you know why it's not using the last good force plan. Inside the query store, you can capture the failures, like query store will capture the failure. It will not capture each and every history of the failure, but it will give you the latest failure and how many failures has happened. It will give you a number of it. But what is the latest reason for the failure? Again, do not panic. Failure meaning it doesn't fail your query. Your users doesn't know it. Your applications doesn't know it. They will get the results properly as is. But behind the scenes, inside the SQL engine, it will go ahead and do the compilation of your query. It will generate a new execution plan in a regular way. And it will go ahead and capture the failure, like why it created a new execution plan when there is already a force plan. It will capture the failure information, and you can see that information by using graphical user interface. I'll show you that. Or you can also view that information by using the system views for the query store. So like how do you monitor, right? Let's say like there are several reasons for these failures. It will go ahead and generate a new plan if there is a failure, right? It won't fail the query, but behind the scenes, it will go ahead and save that information. But what causes these failures and what causes that new plan generation? Let's say you forced a plan, and inside the plan, you have like 3 indexes that that force plan is being used. Now, your developer pulled a report. He have that ability to go ahead and capture the report of unused indexes, and he thought 2 of the indexes that this forced plan is being using, he thought those came up as unused indexes because your query is running only couple of times in 6 months or something like that. He pulled a report, he pulled up the last month report, right? And that index is not being used. He just went ahead, and he already have permissions to do it. He just went ahead and dropped. So those indexes are being used inside this force plan, right? That information is already captured. So we modified that. So the next time the query runs, it will go ahead and first check if it can use the force plan. But as it is not valid, right? Because there are no indexes, it will go ahead and uh, compile and then generate a new execution plan. But then it will go ahead and save the failure reason as no plan, because there is no plan with no index. Sorry, there is no index inside that particular uh, plan. So so I cannot use that force plan. Instead, I will generate a new plan and then go ahead with that. But you need to go ahead and look into these failures to know why it is generating. So whenever you have a force plan and a new plan is generated, immediately go ahead and look into these failures to know if there was any failure. So like I said, you can monitor by using graphical user interface. Underneath the query store folder, you see queries with force plan. You can either use that, or you can use this particular query, which I captured from the Microsoft Docs. So basically it will use the catalog views for the query store to get that failure information. So let's talk about automatic plan correction a little bit. Again, do not think, oh, she's just showing all of the slides. No demo, right? I do not want to move back and forth between demo as well as slides. We'll just complete the slides first and then go to the demo part because that's a long demo. So basically, automatic plan correction is especially for Enterprise Edition, and it is available from SQL Server 2017 and above. So what it does is the query store, you do not have to force anything. It will go ahead and automatically look into your workloads, look into the execution plans that your queries are generating, compare the regression between the plans, and then automatically force the last good plan. Once it forces the last good plan, right, it will not stop there. It will go ahead and continuously monitor and see if there is a new plan that is being generated, And if that new plan is behaving well, then the last good known plan, which it has forced. If it finds the new plan is working optimally than the previous one, it will go ahead and unforce that last force plan and then force the new execution plan. And it is like a continuous process, right? It will not stop there, which will give you a little bit of freedom where like, oh, I need to make sure I go ahead and look into it. We cannot, because we, as a DBS, we have several other tasks to do. If you have if you are on enterprise edition, if you have that ability, you can at least go ahead and check how the automatic plan correction is working. I will show you in our demo how it actually capture our workloads and how it automatically go ahead and force the plans for us. So you can enable the automatic plan correction by using the Transact SQL. You need to alter the database, set automatic tuning, force last good plan to be turned on. And once you turn on, right, if it if it unforced a last force plan and then it forced the new generated plan, there should be a reason why it thought the new plan is better than the previous old good plan, right? So to know that information, why it has chosen the new one, again, the latest one, you cannot see the history of the reasons, right? You can see the latest one by using the view sysdmdb tuning recommendations, which will provide you why it has actually chosen the new plan. You can enable the automatic plan for forcing. If you are in the Azure SQL database, go and choose the Azure SQL database and left side, right, go to the automatic tuning. Once you click on that, it will open up a blade where you can go ahead and enable the force plan to be turned on. And let's talk about this preview feature. This is in the preview mode on Azure SQL database, which is called Query Store Hints. So basically, this is just like your query hints that you use within your code, right? But query store hints are something that you will not touch your code at all. Like if you wanted to use on your store procedure, you do not have to touch the store procedure. You have a separate store procedure, especially available for the query store set hints, where you can go ahead and set based upon your query ID. So all you have to do is capture the query ID and then use that store procedure and do it. But you might be asking me, wait, what are you even talking about? What is this query store hint, right? Let's take an example of a store procedure. So your store procedure, so once you create a store procedure, the first time you run the store procedure, it will go ahead and compile and save that plan in the plan cache. The next time your queries, the same query runs, it will go ahead and use the same execution plan. It will not recompile, right? So when you have parameter sensitive queries, let's say for one parameter you only get 300 records, but with the other parameter, special parameter, you might get 300,000 records, right? In that situation, if you wanted to recompile, you need to touch the code, right? But by using the query store hints, all you can do is without touching the code, you can tell query store to sniff the parameters and behave accordingly, create the execution plans accordingly. Now, how do we do that? All we have to do is like two steps. The first step is to go ahead and get the query ID for that store procedure and place that query ID inside the query store set hints store procedure. Provide your query ID and what parameter you want to use. Let's say I wanted to use the query store hint parameter as recompile. You can simply go ahead and provide the ID, query ID, and the recompile option. Now, when you run the when you run the store procedure the next time, it will go ahead and sniff, and based upon the parameter value, it will go ahead and recompile and create the plan for that particular parameter. So it is this particular feature, right? Preview feature is available in Azure SQL database, elastic pools and managed instance and hyperscale databases. So without even touching the code, you can use this for optimizing the specific queries under specific conditions. Like I said, those kind of examples, right? You do not have to modify any underlying code to use these hints. And you can use query store hints like max stop, recompile, maximum, minimum, memory grant size, compatibility level. You can use all of these. So to use the query store hint, like I said, you have to use SP query store set hints. Get the query ID first by using the query text like operator. You can go ahead and put those query text of your store procedure and get that query ID from there, and then populate it over here and give the value of your query store hint option. Let's go into the demo, which is really exciting. Any questions until now, Steve?
No questions so far, so good.
Awesome. So I'll go ahead and get our demo started. So we are using AdventureWorks database here. We are basically using two databases, Worldwide Importers as well as AdventureWorks. So to enable the query store, again, it's always good to use the Transact SQL to do it. Alter database name, set query store to be turned on, operation mode, read write. Next, let's talk about a couple of options here, which I didn't talk in the previous slides. So operation mode, read write, read only, and off, like we discussed. Cleanup policy, 30 days by default. Once it hits it, it will go ahead and delete the old data. Data flush interval in seconds are 15 minutes, which is 3000 seconds by default, which will capture all the data in the memory and flush out once it hits this 15 minutes interval to disk. Max storage limit is 500 MB. Again, for the older versions and newer versions, 1 GB in size for 2019. Interval length minutes. I took some time to understand this option, but what is interval length minutes? So every 15 minutes, a new interval will begin based upon your need. You can go ahead and change the default, right? But let's say we put 15 minutes interval. To save the space of the query store, what the query store does is, no matter how many times your query runs within that interval, let's say a query a store procedure is running 50 times in 15 minutes. It will only save one record in that particular interval. Let's say interval number 1. No matter how many times the query runs, it will only capture one record for that particular store procedure. And it will aggregate the other information, resource consuming information within that interval. The next time, like once the 15-minute interval reaches, the new interval will begin, interval number 2. Again, no matter how many times the query runs, right, that particular store procedure, again, it will only get one record for that interval. So interval to interval, one row per query. So that's the interval length minutes. And size-based cleanup mode is auto or off. Please put this auto, do not turn it off. Now, why I'm saying that is because if you turn it off, right, once maximum storage limit reaches 100%, it will go ahead and automatically turn your query store into read-only mode. It will not turn it off, but it will go ahead and put it into read-only mode. And if you put it in auto mode, once the maximum storage limit reaches 90%, it will go ahead and clean up the data until it reaches 80%. So that is the reason it is very helpful, so that your query store doesn't have to go to read-only mode. Query capture mode, again, it's auto. Auto is recommended, like I said. Maximum plans per query, 1000 is too much. I put it here. Somehow I missed and I added 0. too many query plans per query. You need to make sure you do that based upon your workload and your needs. Wait stats capture mode, again from 2017 plus, it has been added, so I'm turning that on. Again, this is just for my demo. Do not do as is in your production. I'm doing that. Now, I wanted to see all of my query store options that I have chosen by using sys database query store options. Here, all of the options that we have chosen from, the state, and then max size, interval length minutes, threshold days, and then all of the options that we have chosen, you can get it. Before beginning the demo, let me go ahead and free up my proc cache and then free up my query store. So just to show you how query store will capture the data, I will just run the random store procedures, 2 random store procedures. And then I'll open up, where did it go? Okay. So I will show you how it will. So open up AdventureWorks. So once you enable the query store, you'll see the query store folder. Open that up and then go to top resource consuming queries, which will capture all of the data that is being captured. It will show you the graphical, format. If you hover your mouse over there, you can see the query. If you observe the query, it is parameterized, right? And if you observe, it doesn't show any parameter values. So to see the query itself, you need to go to the grid view mode, which is nice, where you can see the query and then you can see the plan that has been generated. So we have executed 2 stored procedures, got query ID 1 and query ID 2, and these are the plans that are generated. So it has plan ID 2, and this is the plan. You can see the plan as well. So right now we capture 2 stored procedures. So what will happen? Let me go ahead and see what's there in my plan cache. So my plan cache also has these 2 stored procedures that we executed. Now, what if I go ahead and clean up my procedure cache? Will that also clean up my store query store? Let's see the plan cache. So I cleaned up my plan cache, right? Now let's go ahead and refresh our query store. It's still there. Like I said in the beginning of our slides, even though if you clean up your plan cache, your query store will still retain the data. Upon the restarts, upon the plan cache refreshes, your query store is still there. Now, again, let me go ahead and clear out my procedure cache. And then, so this is just a query of if our queries are still existed in the query store by using the views. Yes, everything is in there. Let me clear out my query store. So to sweep out the query store, right? Alter database name, set query store, clear. We'll clear out everything. Now, if you go ahead and refresh, nothing is in there, right? We are fresh. So let's go ahead and run a couple of ad hoc queries. So these 2 queries are exactly the same, but the parameter values I'm giving are 2 different product IDs, and I'm running for the 2 times. So let me go ahead and run that and see how ad hocs behave here. Refresh. If you see here, both are same queries, right? Only the product ID has changed. But even the slightest change, like a comma or a comment change for your ad hoc queries might generate a new query ID. It is treated as a new query ID. If you observe here, think about like I just run a very simple query with a different product ID, but that's not in the store procedure. That's an ad hoc query. Think if you have so many ad hoc queries, it will blow up your query store pretty easily. So if you have more and more ad hoc queries, either you have to go ahead and clean up ad hoc queries from your query store by using a query from the Microsoft Docs, you have a specific query where you can go ahead and clear out ad hoc queries and make sure other queries are still there in the query store, or you can go ahead and place those queries by converting them into stored procedures and parameterizing those values. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and place the same query, right? The same exact query by creating the product ID as my parameter. Let me go ahead and create that. But before doing that, I just added a slight comma space over here, the same exact query, right? 835. This is also 835. If I run that and refresh this, it will generate a new query ID. So even the slightest change will also go ahead and create the new query IDs and waste of space inside your query store. So let me put the same query inside the store procedure. And then before doing anything, let me go ahead and clear out my query store and the procedure cache. Again, this is just my demo, right? That is why I'm doing all of these clearing stuff. Don't do this in production. I know you won't. So let me go ahead and, so once I created the store procedure, I'm running the same store procedure with two different sensitive parameters. Let's see how they create their execution plans. So if you see the execution plan, both are completely different. One is clustered index scan and the other is seek and the key lookup. If you refresh your query store, as you place the query inside the store procedure, right? We only have one query ID right now, but two different execution plans. When you see the plan ID 1, it did index seek and key lookup, and for this, clustered index scan. So let's say this is a parameter sensitive query. So now I wanted to compare both of them. So to compare both of them, just you can compare by selecting both of them by pressing Shift key, select both of them, and then here you can go ahead and compare the plans. Right, once you open that up, you can see the plan side by side and all of the other information over here, the memory grant information, missing indexes, all the other information. So let's say index seek and key lookup is looking fine here. So I wanted to use plan 1 because most of my queries are fine with the plan 1. Only certain queries go with the clustered index. So let me go ahead and select this plan and force this plan. So to force the plan, you can go ahead and select the plan ID 1 and then click on force plan. Do you want to force plan 1 for query 1? So I can click yes. Once I click yes, it will show up a little tick mark over here, which says, represents that particular plan ID is currently being forced. So the next time you go ahead and run the same store procedure with any parameter, right? I'm running with a different parameter. If I execute it, it will have to go ahead and use the same execution plan. But by using the transact SQL, you can go ahead and force the plan as well. Previously, I just showed you how to do it in graphical user interface, but transact SQL is recommended. So let me go ahead and run with a different parameter, show actual execution plan on. If you run that, did you see here? Like one of the attendees asked me like whether it will use the estimated or actual, but here I have pressed the actual execution plan on. And if you see here, it's using index seek and a key lookup, and our forced plan is exactly the same, index seek and a key lookup. And this is the actual execution plan. So it will go ahead and use the same forced plan. Now I wanted to go ahead and place my query store in read-only mode. So if I place in read-only mode, how does that act, right? Let me go ahead and do that. And now I'll go ahead and clear out my procedure cache. And I'll go ahead and execute this store procedure with a different parameter right now and see our execution plan. So as I cleared out my procedure cache, right, there is no plan in the cache. When I discussed about how query store works, it will go ahead and first check for the cache, check for the plan in the cache. But as there is no plan in the cache, it will go ahead and create a plan exactly like the force plan. Now, if I executed this, now if you go to the execution plan, the actual execution plan, it created the index seek and key lookup, which is exactly the same index seek and key lookup, but we placed our query store in read-only mode. But did you observe? It did not write anything here, but it used the information of the force plan. It can still read it. Let me go ahead and turn off my query store by altering the database. Set query store to be turned off will turn off my query store on this database. That's my first one. Let's go ahead and see how I used the query store during my database upgrades. So we are using wide world importers database. So let me go ahead and free up my proc cache and enable the query store read write mode in the read write mode. And just like we did the options for the AdventureWorks database, let's go ahead and do the same thing over here for this database. Right now, let's say I have a database. I migrated from 2012 to 2016. Once I move to 2016, I will place the database in same 2012 mode. Right? Let me place that. Let's say we already have a store procedure, but as I restored a new copy of the database, let me go ahead and create this store procedure. Very simple store procedure, simple inner join, and we are searching on the quantity. Let's say we have this store procedure on the older versions as well. Now I'll free up my query store, free up my proc cache just in case. As it is my demo, I want to make sure my demos are working properly. So now I'm capturing the information, right? Just like the way it used to run on the older compatibility mode. So I'm executing that, right? Now I'll go ahead and open up the wide world importers database query store, top resource consuming queries. Again, we wanted to go into grid view mode. Here, this is the query. This is the store procedure, and this is the plan ID. Right now, I'll go ahead and upgrade the database by upgrading the compatibility mode to 2016. I did that. Now I'll run the same exact store procedure. I do not know how it will behave after the upgrade. It might behave well or it might behave worse. We do not know. But let's go ahead and refresh and see. They both behave exactly the same, like very close, right? If you hover your mouse onto plan ID 2 on the blue one, if you see here, I have selected that. Plan ID 2 is taking total duration of 6.02, and the new one is taking 5. How much is that? 5.59. Very close, but if you see precisely, it will like the query plan ID 3, the new one is working better than the old one, right? Which is pretty cool, but it's not the case all the time. My demo my demo should have shown it a different way, but it is not working properly. Sometimes demos doesn't work, but that's fine. It's a good thing. Like after the upgrade, it's working fine, right? But sometimes the performance will degrade. In that case, you can go ahead and easily compare between these plans. Like I said, we can compare it, right? By go ahead and clicking on both of them and go ahead and comparing both of them, and you can go ahead and force them. So I at least did couple of forcing of the plans. Some of the plans did not work well, so I had to do this, and That is the reason why I put it in my demo, to just show you how we can take the advantage during database upgrades. Let's see failures, how failures work. So let me clear out my procedure cache and then query store. Again, we are using wide world importers again. So if you see previously, so we have cleared out our query store. So view top resource consuming queries. So we cleared out, so we do not see. In the previous execution plan for that particular store procedure that we just created, it suggested an index inside that particular plan. So let's go ahead and create that plan, right? That index, that supportive index. Now I created an index. Now I'll run the store procedure again. I'll go ahead and refresh so that I'll capture that particular plan ID. Now what I will do is I just created the index. So now the index is being used in this particular query. Now I'll go ahead and force a plan. Do you want to force a plan 3? Yes, I do. So now this plan 3 is being forced, but it is being used, right? The index is being used here. Now I'll go ahead and simply drop the index that I have created to see how the failure will be shown in the query store. So now I executed it, I dropped it, and now I'll run the query. So if you see, while I run the query doesn't fail. It doesn't fail. It will give the results, right? But if you go ahead and see, refresh, even though you have a forced plan, it generated a new plan. Now, in your regular workload, you come and see, and though the plan is forced, why is it even creating a new plan? You don't know. So in that case, go to queries with forced plan, right click and view queries with forced plan. Here, that particular query ID 4, right? Query ID 4, if you see here, forced plan ID is 3. This is a plan that you have forced, and the forced plan failure count is 1. So if you see multiple failures, this count number will be increasing, but only you see the last force plan failure description. You will not see the history of the information again, but the failure reason is no index. So there is no index that is being used inside the force plan. We have dropped that index, and that is the reason. Now let's go ahead and see the other kind of failures. Now I'll go ahead and recreate the similar kind of index, exactly the same without changing anything, like without changing the name of the index or schema of the index. I'm creating it again and see how it will behave this time. I executed the store procedure. Now I'll refresh, and I do not see any new plans getting generated. But if I go ahead and see queries with forced plans, the forced plan is still 1. That means this forced plan is currently being used. If you run here, like if you enable the actual execution plan and run it again, it will go ahead and use the index seek. So if you recreate the index, query store do not have a problem to go ahead and use the same forced plan, because that schema is as is. We created it again, right? So now let's go ahead and do something else. Now I'll go ahead and alter the index a little bit by adding a different column in it. I'm changing the schema of the index, but the index that is being stored inside the execution plan is completely different. Now I'm changing it, I'm modifying it. Now I'll go ahead and run the store procedure again. Right? If you see here, the plan has changed. It is using column store index right now. And if you refresh and see, the force plan failure count is 2 right now. And if you see the reason, there is no plan associated with that particular index. There is no plan because the schema of the index has been changed, so it gave this particular failure reason. Now, if you see the last failure reason, it won't appear here. But if you see here, what is the count? It will give you the number of count. Again, to get that information, you can use the extended events to capture the history. Now, to get all of these are the kind of failures that you see if you force a plan. So you need to go ahead and look into queries with force plan to see the reason, the latest reason. Now let's see how the automatic plan forcing works. For this demo, we are going to use AdventureWorks Azure SQL database. Now my first run will fail because I put my database in serverless mode, which is auto pause mode. It paused my database. So the first run might fail. It's executing. So whenever you put the database in the auto pause mode, the first execution will fail because it will get warm up and the second execution will run fine. But it will save a lot of money, you know. So I'll run it again. It might also fail second time. I'm not sure. So let's see. So I put the time as 1 hour. So if it is idle for 1 hour, it will go ahead and fail. So let me place the database, AdventureWorks, and run it this time. I hope it will work. Yeah, and you cannot, if you are using Azure SQL database, you cannot in the T-SQL, you cannot use database Go. You cannot do that. So let me go ahead and do that this time. See, now it was successful. So right now I place the database automatic tuning, force last good plan to be turned on. Now it's turned on, but I want to make sure I turned it on. You can see by querying sys database automatic tuning options to make sure we actually enable it. Force last good plan is turned on. Actual state is also turned on. So we are good to go. So let me go ahead and create the same exact store procedure we have been using in our previous demos, which is like product ID, right? Searching on the product ID. Very simple store procedure. Now I'll go ahead and clear out my query store and then procedure cache. Now I will create a workload, right? So we have to see our Azure SQL database here. So let me go ahead and create our first workload, enabling the actual execution plan on. We are running it for 50 times, which should run pretty quick because each execution will give us only like couple of records. It's already executed. And then results, if you see, 385 rows per execution. We have executed it for 50 times. So let me go ahead and open up the database, AdventureWorks, query store, top resource consuming queries, right click, view it in the grid view mode. So we will just monitor what will happen. We are not forcing anything here. It will automatically done that for us. It will do that for us. So we executed this particular query 50 times, right? Now, let me go ahead and clear out my procedure cache so that we are forcing the query to recreate the execution plan basically. So for this particular execution, the same store procedure with this product ID 707 will generate a different execution plan because it gives like some thousands of records per execution. If you see here. Now, if you go ahead and see, I'm sorry if I'm blowing your ears. I'm really sorry. I can't help it. I can't stop until until I mute myself. So
no problem. You definitely woke up a few people. So
Here, basically, we executed the parameter sensitive query for like how many times? For 10 times. So did you observe there is regression between both of them? The first one, it took how many? 1324 total duration in milliseconds. But the new one is like 13,000 milliseconds. There is huge regression in between both of those parameter sensitive executions, right? Now I'll run the same workload again. So it captured the baseline. Now I'm going ahead and running the workload again. So it will see how many times it's capturing. It will go ahead and continuously go ahead and monitor the regressions for us. So I'm executing that. Now while it's executing, if you refresh and see, it's still executing. But if you see here, it already forced the plan. It already thought the plan one is better. So it went ahead and it captured it automatically forced the plan ID 1. So that's how the automatic plan correction works. Based upon your workload, it will continuously go ahead and monitor and force and unforce the plan for you. So to know the reason, right, to know the reason why it has actually caused this failure. You can see that by using view sysdmdb tuning recommendations. If you see the results, again, you can run this particular view on developer editions and the other editions. It will run, but it won't show you any results. If you are in enterprise, then only it will show you the results if you have automatic plan correction to be turned on. But as I am connected to the Azure SQL database, we can run it. So the reason is average query CPU time has changed. That's what the reason it showed. It may not be exactly accurate with the numbers, but that is the reason why it has actually changed. So that's my third or fourth demo. And the last one is query store hints. So this is actually in the preview mode, like I said, in Azure SQL database again. So let me connect to the Azure SQL database. And then I know we created this store procedure, but let me go ahead and drop and recreate again, because I'm forcing again to create a new execution plan. I'm clearing out my entire query store cache, query store, and then my procedure cache.
Deepti,
User does
quick
not
question.
have. Yeah, sure.
Then you are talking about Azure SQL. Are you talking about Azure SQL, the contained database, or are you talking about the managed instance, or maybe both?
I'm talking about Azure SQL database. Like this is especially in the preview mode for the database, the single database, Azure SQL database.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Let me confirm that, please, because if you see my screen, you are seeing my screen, right? So it is in the preview mode for all of these. I'm sorry, I'm correcting my words.
Oh, and managed instance as well.
Yeah, Elastic Pools, managed instance, hyperscale databases. But
Cool,
I'm using Azure SQL database here. So I'm clearing up my query store and then procedure cache. I believe I did, but I'm just doing it again. Okay, so I created the store procedure, and then now I'm executing these two executions, right? But regularly in the SQL Server, the first time you execute a query, it will go ahead and save that execution plan in the cache, right? So the next time the execution will also use the same execution plan, and that might not be ideal in some situations. Let's see the execution plans. If you see here, the first execution, if you see the results, the first execution gave us like 360K records, and the second execution just gave us 385 records. Since we executed the parameter sensitive query, which generated several records, The next time, even though it is not required, it went ahead and did the clustered index scan, which doesn't make any sense here. When you have such low records that are getting out, like 385 records. So what can we do that by using the query store? We can use the query store hints to fix that problem without touching that store procedure. So all you have to do is get the query ID. So to get the query ID, we use these system views to grab that information. And by using the like operator and by searching on the query text of this particular store procedure, I'm going ahead and grabbing that query ID for that particular store procedure. So the query ID for that particular store procedure, again, it is grabbing that information from the query store itself. It is query ID 1. So all I have to do is execute sp query store set hints query ID 1, update that, and provide the value, like what kind of hint you want to use. In this case, I wanted to use recompile so that I want to see how it will actually sniff the parameters and create the execution plan based upon those parameters. Let me go ahead and do that. So basically, it will enable the recompile option for that particular query ID 1. So the next time I execute, right? If you observe here, the next time I execute and see my execution plans, the first time it executed, it sniffed the parameter and it created a clustered index scan. The next time it thought it sniffed again and it recompiled based upon the parameter values, index seek and a key lookup, which is perfect for this kind of parameter sensitive executions. So to see what kind of hints are currently enabled on my query IDs, you can go ahead and get that information by using sys query store query hints. If you go ahead and do that, you can get that latest information, latest query hint information for your query ID. So if you update this information, right, if you went ahead and if you used a different query hint for the same query ID, all it will do is it will update this information, query hint ID number 2, query ID 1, and the option will be updated to whatever you place. Now I'll go ahead and do something else. I'll use max.1. So I want this query ID 1 to use the hint max.1. So let me go ahead and do that. And if you observe here, if I run this particular query again, it will show query ID 2, query hint ID 2, query ID 1, and max.top as 1. It updated that information. So now I'll go ahead and run this particular, again I'll run this executions store procedure to see how it will act. Now I have removed the recompile hint. So it went ahead in the regular way. It again created the clustered index scan in both of the situations. But if you go ahead into the properties, we updated the hint as max.1. If you see here, non-parallel plan reason is max.top set to 1. So it will use for both of the plans. Max.top set to 1. Now what I will do is I will use multiple hints in the same for the same query ID. We can do that by updating the query ID again, providing the value recompile as well as max.1. Let me execute that. Now go ahead and run the executions again. Now if you see the execution plan, both of them has updated actually. First, the recompile has worked because we got two different plans. And if you see the properties, it also enabled the max.top set to 1. So if you observe here, we did not touch the store procedure at all, right? Now to clear out all the hints which were set on query ID 1, you can go ahead and execute sp query store clear hints will actually clear out the hints for this particular query ID. So let me go ahead and execute that. and go ahead and see what's there in my query store hints. It will clear out everything. Now again, to see what all options, like what all hints are supported, as when I created this demo, this article was useful. Maybe they updated, maybe Microsoft have given all of these hints in their own article. But in SQL Server 2022, right, they mainly focused on query store, where you do not have to worry about forcing and unforcing. But in the engine itself, they made a modification of saving the execution plans depending upon the parameter, and then based upon your parameters, the SQL engine itself will go ahead and generate the execution plans based upon your parameters. So they are making sure this thing, the query store feature, will run automatically for you. That's the biggest upgrade. One of the main feature in 2022. And still we do not know much information on that one. And now let me go to my slides again. So we talked about query store hints, and then there are certain key takeaways. Basically, takeaways here mean couple of points that you can remember while taking this information with you. So you cannot disable, like I said, you cannot disable. It's automatically enabled on Azure SQL database, and you cannot disable it. Like if you try to disable, you'll get an error. You cannot disable on Azure SQL database, single database, as well as on Elastic Pool. You cannot do that. And like there is this trace flag, right? Before talking about this trace flag, like if you enable the query store, and if you wanted to, if you wanted to shut down the database, before shutting down the database, regularly the query store, what all the data that has been captured in the memory will have to flush out to disk. While that process is being done, it might take some time for your SQL Server to get shut down, or even while your SQL Server is being restarted. So if you do not want that lag, right, while restarting the SQL Server, all of the information, you should be okay to lose the data if you wanted to shut down. But if you compare both of them, like I can lose the data, but I wanted to do the process very quickly of restarting, right? Because applications are waiting on this process. If you're doing it in the middle of the day or whatnot, according to your needs, you can go ahead and turn this trace flag 7745 to avoid writing the query store data to disk before SQL Server shutdown. And there is this another trace flag 7752, which will actually, it will not wait. It will not regularly. What happens if you do not have this trace flag on is when you start the SQL Server, if you have query store on it, right? It will have to load certain information into the memory before it brings the database online. But if you think that is taking time, you do not want that to be happen, you can go ahead and make sure you can do it once you enable the database, and you can go ahead and asynchronously get that information of query store into the memory. But while this process is happening, right, your query store will be in the read-only mode. If you want to enable this trace flag 7752, again, I will explain it again. So if you enable this 7752, when you restart the SQL Server and when you have query store enabled databases, it will take a lot of time for you to get your databases online until the query store data is being pushed into the memory. So if you do not want to do that, if you want your databases to come online quickly and do this process asynchronously later, but then your query store can be in the read-only mode while that is happening, trace flag 7752 will be useful. And by default, anyway, it is by default turned on in SQL Server 2019. And Query Store doesn't capture native compiled queries. So native compiled queries are for in-memory systems. So to do that, if you want to capture, you need to manually go ahead and enable sys spxtp control query execution stats. So you need to go ahead and manually enable that to capture the natively compiled queries. And if you have many ad hoc queries, right, and you wanted to enable the query store, you can go ahead and use optimize for ad hoc workloads option to save the cache memory, because you do not want to save all of this information in the cache. So you can use that optimize for ad hoc workloads option. The other thing is by default, the plans that are being saved is 200, but 200 might be too much for some companies. You do not have to accept the defaults. You can go ahead and change that. And like I said, I already mentioned this part. If the maximum storage size has reached, the query store will automatically go into the read-only mode. So you might not get an alert on it, right? But if you wanted to, like, if your storage size is reaching out, or putting the cleanup policy mode to auto is really useful, because that will make sure your query store is not going into read-only mode. Size-based cleanup mode, that is what I was talking. You need to make sure you turn the size-based cleanup mode to be turned on to avoid changing it to the read-only mode once it reaches the 90%. So once the max size reaches 90%, it will go ahead and clean up the old data until it reaches the 80%. So you still have 20% buffer, right? So it will automatically do that for you. And auto mode, like if you place the capture mode as auto mode, it will avoid the ad hoc queries with small resource consumption, which are like insignificant, right? It will automatically avoid those. Like I said, query store capture mode set to auto, and which is by default, it is turned on in 2019. And once you enable the query store, you want to get the information, you need all of those queries, those views specific to see how the query store is capturing data, what kind of information that you can get. Channel Advisor has written this wonderful toolbox, especially for the query store, known as QDS toolbox. You can go ahead and grab that code from the GitHub and you can use it. There are several queries that will be useful for you once you enable the query store. And again, this best practice document is really useful before enabling or changing the options while setting up your query store. Just go ahead and read these best practices so that you are not skipping, or unknowingly you're not skipping anything. And these are the resources that I used to prepare my presentation, and I grabbed all of these wonderful pictures from pixels.com. And I would like to thank Steve one more time for giving me this very nice opportunity to share my experiences about Query Store. Thank you.
Dipti, we're just providing horses and shovels. You basically providing the gold, so it's your content.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, sounds like we can wrap it up. Thank you for attending Los Angeles Data Platform. Thank you for Dipti for presenting Intro to Query Store.
Anytime.
See you next time.
Thank you very much,
everyone.
Dipti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Thank you.